Hey everyone, and welcome to a deep dive that's incredibly important, especially for women. We're going to be looking at this article, Protecting Your Heart, a guide to heart health for women. And I gotta say, right off the bat, it really surprised me. We always hear about heart disease being a man's issue, but this article, it says point blank that heart disease affects women just as much.
Absolutely. It's a huge misconception to think that heart disease is primarily a men's health issue. And it can be really dangerous, actually.
Yeah, how so?
Well, because women might not recognize the symptoms, or they might even delay seeking treatment, if they think it's not really something they need to be concerned about.
That makes sense. So the article debunks that myth right away, but then it goes on to explain that women might experience heart attacks differently than men.
Exactly. It's all about the symptoms. Men often have that classic Hollywood heart attack,
Like the crushing chest pain.
Exactly. Clutching their chest and falling over. But for women, it can be a lot more subtle.
What do you mean subtle? Like what kind of symptoms?
Well, they might experience things like unusual fatigue or shortness of breath, maybe some nausea, or even pain in the back neck or jaw.
Wow. Jaw pain. I'd probably think I had a dental problem.
I know, right? It's not always so obvious.
So why is there a difference in symptoms between men and women?
It's complicated, but it seems like, some research suggests that could be because of differences in how heart disease actually develops in women. And plus, women's coronary arteries, they're typically smaller than men's. So blockages in those arteries, they might not produce that same intense pain that men often experience.
So, this is really making me think, if any of us experience any of these subtle symptoms, we shouldn't wait to get checked out, right?
Absolutely not. Early detection is so important, it can make a world of difference. Now, beyond just recognizing the signs, it's important to talk about what we can actually do to protect our hearts.
Right, prevention.
Yeah, exactly. And the article lays out some really practical lifestyle tips. You'd be surprised how manageable they actually are.
Okay, I'm ready. What's the first one?
Well, it all starts with nutrition. Think about swapping out those processed foods for, whole grains, fruits, vegetables.
The good stuff.
Exactly.
More color on our plates and less stuff from a box.
Exactly.
What's next?
All right, so next up, exercise. Aim for at least 30 minutes of moderate activity, on most days of the week.
Okay, but that doesn't have to mean going to the gym, right?
Not at all. It could be anything. A brisk walk, dancing, swimming, gardening, anything that gets your heart rate up and you enjoy doing. And, speaking of things we enjoy doing, the next tip is about managing stress.
Oh, stress. I'm already stressed thinking about managing stress. But seriously, why is that so important for our hearts?
Well, when we're stressed, our bodies release all these hormones, like adrenaline and cortisol. And over time, those can increase our blood pressure and heart rate. And that puts a lot of strain on our hearts. And that constant strain can damage our arteries and make us more vulnerable to developing heart disease. The article recommends trying things like yoga, meditation, or even just spending some time in nature.
Oh, I love that. So finding little pockets of calm throughout the day can actually make a real difference.
It can. And the last tip is about regular checkups with your doctor. Knowing your numbers. Cholesterol, blood sugar.
Like taking inventory.
Yes, exactly.
But let's be honest, a lot of people, they put off going to the doctor. So what would you say to someone who's maybe feeling a little hesitant to get checked out?
Well, I think it's important to view it as an investment in your future well-being.
Right.
Regular checkups can catch those potential issues early on when they're easier to manage.
I like that. It's about being proactive.
Exactly.
This has been so informative. I'm really starting to think about heart health in a whole new way.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what's the most surprising thing you've learned from this article so far?
That's a good question. I think for me, it's really how subtle the signs of a heart attack can be, especially in women. It's a reminder that we need to listen to our bodies and pay attention to any changes, no matter how small.
That's such a good point, because it's so easy to just dismiss those little things like fatigue or discomfort.
Right.
But we have to be our own advocates,
Absolutely.
If something feels off, we need to get it checked out.
I agree. Now, before we move on, you mentioned something earlier about the emotional side of heart health.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's an important part of this conversation, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's dive into that next. So we've been talking about, those physical signs of heart problems and how they can be different for women. But, it makes me think about like the emotional side of things too. I mean, having a heart condition, that has got to take a toll on you mentally and emotionally, right?
Absolutely. Think about it, You're dealing with this fear, this uncertainty about your health. It can be really overwhelming. It can lead to anxiety, depression, even social isolation. It's a lot to handle.
And probably hard to, feel like yourself when you're constantly worried about your health. I noticed that the article mentions support groups as a way to cope.
Yes, support groups can be incredibly helpful. Being able to share your experiences with others who truly understand what you're going through.
It's that feeling of community.
Exactly. You're not alone in this.
Mhm.
And, beyond support groups, the article also talks about the importance of self-care.
Right.
And that can look different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It could be taking a relaxing bath or reading a good book, maybe spending some time in nature, anything that helps you de-stress and recharge.
I love that. It's not selfish, it's essential. And I think it's important to remember that if things start to feel overwhelming, seeking professional help is always an option.
Right. Don't hesitate to reach out.
Therapy can provide you with, the tools and strategies you need to manage that anxiety and depression.
Mm.
And it can really help you process all those emotions that come along with a heart condition. So we've talked about recognizing the signs, making those lifestyle changes, finding support. But the article goes even further,
Mm-hmm.
It talks about all the amazing advancements in heart healthcare that are happening right now.
Oh, absolutely. There's been so much progress in terms of treatment options. I mean, we've come a long way.
So what kind of advancements are we talking about?
Well, the article mentions medications, personalized dietary guidance, and even specialized procedures that can be tailored to each individual's needs.
So it sounds like personalized medicine is becoming increasingly important in heart health.
It really is. It's moving away from that one-size-fits-all approach.
Yeah.
Now, doctors can consider your risk factors, your lifestyle, even your genetic makeup, and create a plan that's just for you.
That's pretty incredible. So how can we as patients be more proactive in this whole personalized approach?
Well, I think it starts with being informed.
Mm.
Do your research. Ask your doctor lots of questions. And don't be afraid to advocate for yourself.
Right.
You know your body better than anyone else. You're the expert.
This whole conversation has been so eye-opening. We've covered so much. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on everything we've discussed?
What really stands out to me is how empowered we can be when it comes to our heart health. We have more knowledge, more options than ever before.
I agree. It's about being proactive, being informed, and taking an active role in our healthcare decisions.
Exactly. And, it's important to remember that heart health isn't just about preventing disease. It's about living a full, vibrant life.
I love that. This whole deep dive has really shifted my thinking about heart health.
Mm-hmm.
What's one thing you hope our listeners take away from all of this?
I hope they feel empowered to prioritize their heart health and know that they don't have to make huge changes to make a difference.
Small changes, big impact.
That's it.
I like that. But before we wrap up this deep dive, there's one more thing I want to bring up. The article closes with a question, and I think it's a perfect way to end our conversation today.
Oh, what's the question?
It asks, what one small change can you make today to prioritize your heart health and live a life full of energy and joy?
I like that it really puts the focus on, on taking action.
Right, and it makes it feel doable too.
Right.
It's not about changing your whole life all at once,
Yeah.
It's about finding just one small thing you can do differently today.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that one small change, it can be different for everyone. Maybe for someone, it's like, oh, I'm going to swap out that sugary soda for a glass of water.
Yeah, or, parking further away from the store entrance and getting in a couple extra steps.
Or maybe taking 5 minutes before bed to do some deep breathing.
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah.
And what I love about this whole idea is that even those small changes can really start to add up, Once you start making one healthy choice, it kind of motivates you to make more.
Yeah, you get that momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah, building momentum toward a healthier and happier you.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that you have the power to make choices,
Yeah.
that support your well-being.
You're in control.
So as we wrap up today, I want to encourage everyone listening to really think about that question.
Yeah.
What's one small change that you can commit to making today?
Write it down. Put it on a sticky note.
Oh, I like that.
Put it on your bathroom mirror so you see it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or tell a friend so they can hold you accountable.
Love it.
Or even just, whisper it to yourself.
Yeah.
But make that commitment to your heart health.
Because it really is at the center of everything we do.
It is.
It powers our passions, our relationships, everything.
Yeah.
It deserves to be taken care of.
And, by taking even those smallest steps towards better heart health, you're investing in a future full of possibilities.
Well said. Well said. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We hope you feel inspired and empowered to take charge of your heart health and live a life that you truly love.
Remember, even those small changes can make a huge difference. So take care and stay heart healthy.